Hey everyone, welcome back. I know all my subscribers are hoping for a Shawn James parody video. I mean, it's been a long time and I'm due. Oh, mother... But no, this is going to be a serious video. I'm going to be talking about Shawn James's recent decision to leave his property and start new, start all over again on a new property, blank slate. Come along, follow me along. So I think most people watching right now probably know who Shawn James is, probably know his channel, Reliance. If you don't, I'll put 2 links down in the description where he talks about why he's leaving and why he's leaving. I think both videos are on why he's leaving. So full disclosure, Shawn and I are acquainted. We've met in person, we've exchanged messages on Messenger. He's been to some of my live streams. So we are acquainted. I do know where he lives. It's like 3 hour drive that way, not 3 kilometers. And in fact, odd bit of trivia, a month before he bought his property, his current property, I looked at a property that was kitty corner to his. I didn't buy it, it was too expensive and the cabin was a piece of shit. And Shawn's got a really good sense of humor because he said recently to me, he said, you know, if you bought that property, I might have made this decision 3 years ago. Because I'd be over there all the time. Hey Shawn, what are you doing? Hey Shawn, how's it going? Alright, I'm out. Anyway, so his decision is, he's built a beautiful cabin there, he's built a beautiful forest kitchen, he's built a bathhouse, a big pond, which I think he planned to stock with fish. The workshop, Shawn's a bit of a rambler when he gets talking in his videos, and I still don't know if the workshop is on his new property or his old property. I think it's on his new property, but closer to the road. Anyway, so I'm going to talk a bit about the situation with the new road going in. I'm going to talk about the situation with his neighbors. I actually know who his neighbors are. I'm going to talk about his new property and what he's looking at there. So stick with me for a bit. I need to do some scene changes so I'm not just standing here yakking, and maybe I'll put in some good B-roll so it not as monotonous and you can actually see what's going on here. It's rained for 3 days. No, sorry, rained nonstop for 2 days. Yesterday it turned to wet snow. This morning it was snowing, but it's sort of stopped. It was supposed to get wet snow today, tomorrow, and Friday. So I was thinking, I'm not going to really have much of a regular video for Friday, so I'm going to talk about this instead. And hopefully you get something out of it. Anyway, B-roll and then scene change. Russell, you're the king of scene changes. Don't let anyone ever tell you different. Anyway, I hope the wind isn't a problem out here. It's much better talking out here than inside. It's kind of dull and boring in there. Anyway, yeah, so unopened road allowances are interesting. As I said, I know exactly where he lives. He told me. Kind of a roundabout way he told me, actually. But I know exactly where he lives. And in Ontario, unopened road allowances are kind of like, they're everywhere. And yet, and they're there for future development. Like there's an unopened road allowance going up the side of my property that way. It's a few hundred meters from the cabin, so if it ever got developed, it wouldn't be a huge problem. I'm sure I'd be okay with it. But if I was as close as Shawn is to his, it would be a real problem. He's, you know, you can see in his one video, his longhouse is right there, right beside the marker, and he said you could also see it from his cabin, and that would be a bit different. You know, when I think of when I was looking for property, I wanted something remote. I wanted something peaceful and serene and quiet. I didn't want people just wandering, you know, up to my cabin going, oh, what's this? You know, and if things change, you know, I would be really disheartened. I can totally understand where Shawn's coming from, that he doesn't want people to be walking up and down that road, especially because he's a big YouTuber and people might be looking for him and saying, oh, what are you doing now, Shawn? You know, they can watch him from the road. I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that at all. And you know, that would be enough for me to move. I mean, I'm not even talking about the noise that would happen while they're building the road, or the noise of his neighbor building his house, or all that. I like my solitude out here, and that would be a huge problem for me. So, as to Shawn's neighbors, I actually know who they are. I'm not going to say who they are, for the same reason that Shawn didn't. Essentially, we're not dicks. We wouldn't do that. But I've actually known these people for longer than I've known Shawn. And in fact, it wasn't until I got talking to Shawn about it that we realized these are the same people. And oh my God, can confirm they are dicks. They pulled a dick move on me once a while back. I was surprised and shocked, and I thought, okay, well, I've learned something important this time. Honestly, I don't know how Shawn's put up with it all this time. And I don't know what makes people like that so vindictive, like to do that kind of thing with such consistency as well. I'm really honestly surprised that Shawn didn't call the police on them sooner for the things that they've been doing, except that it's been escalating, as he said in his video. I mean, they've even given out his address to people. One of them being his henchman, who, this guy doesn't live anywhere near them, but he's come to spy on Shawn from his driveway. I think he even used his drone to spy on him. This guy's just evil, like he's scum of the earth, this guy. And I'm sure many people who are watching have, had their own problems with neighbors. I mean, think of the worst problem you've ever had with a neighbor and then multiply it by 10. And that's pretty much what Shawn's going through with this. Making his life a living hell. I feel really bad about that. And I can also confirm that it really is just because of his YouTube channel. I think anybody else buying that property and living there or spending time there, you're not going to have a problem with these people. In fact, they'll probably be quite friendly towards you. Unless you have a a long-standing grudge on Shawn's behalf, you'll get along fine with them. You really will. Just don't trust them. Now, I've often said my wife is a city girl. In fact, I call her a city girl all the time. And I think Shawn's wife is too. And I don't mean anything by that other than they don't have a lot of experience out in nature. My wife has spent most of her life living in a city. Just never really gotten outside of it. Not to say she doesn't like nature, because we used to go on nature walks. Like years before I bought this property, we would look for trails, nature trails just north of Toronto, and we'd take our then dog, Baby, and we go on hikes on the weekends, and sometimes we'd take a lunch and heat it up over a small fire. She loved doing that. It was always an awesome time. And I knew that when I bought this property and I started designing this cabin, I knew that if I had any hope of her coming here and spending any kind of time at all, that things had to be just right. Things had to be, there had to be amenities. It couldn't be scary out here. She's also a person who watched a lot of horror movies growing up. At some point I told her, look, stop doing that. It's not helping you. She'd watch a horror movie and then she wouldn't go in the basement for 6 months. But it's one of the reasons why we got Willow, a big dog who can run circles around anything out here. And I call her a big fuck off dog. Make her feel safer to be out here. And I guess, what I've done has worked, because she wants to retire out here. She wants to live out here. Which is awesome. I remember her first night here. When we stayed in the shelter, the cabin hadn't really been built much. She was terrified all night long, but she stuck with it, and now she loves it out here. And I know that if the situation was reversed and we were in Shawn's shoes right now, and the same sort of things were happening, that would be it. She would never come to the cabin again, ever. Like, not even for a short time. Oh, we're having a little June bug effect here. So I don't blame his wife or his daughters for not wanting to go there. That's a horrible situation to be in. And if that happened to us, if that happened here, that would be it. We'd be doing the same thing. Looking for a new property and moving somewhere else. And it's unfortunate that has happened, but I can totally empathize with his wife and his daughters, I should say. Yeah, this is my firewood situation. And yes, I should have covered up the exposed firewood. You can stop telling me now, I get it. I should have done it. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about Shawn's new property. Now, he hasn't come out directly and told me. All I got is from the videos that he put out, but it seems like it's much larger and it's much more remote. And he's building his cabin probably far into the property, because he mentioned something about ATV trails and having to go a ways to get there. So, in essence, it's a lot more like my property here, whereas the old property, he could drive pretty close to his cabin, if not right up to it. I'm not sure. But the new one he can't. He's got an ATV, all the stuff in, which is pretty much what I've done here. Everything you see here was brought in by ATV, except for these two muffin heads. I'm pointing to dogs here. They came in on their own power. But everything else I brought in by ATV, so I know exactly what he's looking at. And as far as hauling stuff to his cabin site, like tools and equipment and logs from his old property, I'm not sure. And one of my comments was, Shawn, if you need help hauling stuff, I'm your guy. That's the only thing I'm really good at, is hauling stuff. But I don't know what his plans are. If he's planning on building another log cabin, if he's bringing the logs in, or if he's cutting them there. But anyway, I know he's going to be hauling a lot of stuff. And there's a good and a bad about that. The bad is, of course, you've got a long way to haul crap. Your trail isn't necessarily all that great. His didn't look that bad. He built a wonderful bridge. My trail is awful. But the good part is, nobody just comes down that trail, because nobody comes walking down my trail anyway, because it's so freaking tough to get here. We don't get strangers just wandering by. And I think he's going to like that about his new cabin, is it's going to be very remote, and he's not going to get people just wandering by. I don't know if that happens at his cabin now or not, but anyway, that's one of the nice things. But suffice to say, it's much nicer when when you're really remote like that. So I'm really encouraged by that. Missed. So I just want to give you my sitting on cardboard and sliding off on the snow. Junebug effect. So I just want to give you my final thoughts on all this. I remember about a year ago I went back through Shawn's videos, looking for the time frame where he just bought his property and he was just starting to build his cabin. And I remember one video in particular where he was talking about, he hadn't started building yet, but he was talking about where he was putting his outpost cabin, where he was going to build his cabin, and his excitement was palpable. I could feel it. I could feel it through the screen. And it was awesome. It was totally awesome watching that. And over the years, it's been great watching him build a cabin, and the bathhouse, and the forest kitchen, and everything else. He's done so much stuff, right? So it seems like a heartache, because he put his heart and soul into this property. He just loved what he was doing. So it seems really heartbreaking that he's leaving it all behind. But you gotta kind of look at it optimistically. You gotta look forward and say, what is he gonna do now? Like he's built all this stuff. He's learned a ton doing it. He's got all this new experience. He knows if there's if there's deficiencies with the way he built his cabin. Maybe it wasn't big enough. Maybe he should have done something different. Now he's gonna do it. And all I feel now is that we should look forward and be optimistic about what he's going to be doing. I think it's going to be wonderful. These are going to be the best years of my self-reliance. I have no doubt at all about that. And I'm really excited again. Shawn, I need one of these videos, another one of these videos where you get out there and you talk excitedly about where things are going to be built. Because I just love that. Oh, and by the way, Shawn, I'm going to push you again on that metal roof business. I don't want to say... Metal roofs, man, I don't want to see anything else. I know you're going to do what you're going to do, but I just want to, give you a shot in the arm about the whole metal roof thing. Anyway, thanks for following along. I hope this has helped you understand a little more about his situation. I hope you feel like I do, positive about the whole thing, positive results, or a positive future about the whole thing. Jeez, sometimes I ramble too. And we're sticking with you, Shawn. Fight the good fight. Keep going. I did read through comments on two of your videos, and a lot of supportive people, which is awesome to see. Anyway, Shawn said he might drop by my live Friday night, so I'm putting that in video, so maybe we can look forward to that. But he might not. I know. Sometimes he doesn't. He's in areas where he doesn't get very good internet, so it doesn't it doesn't always happen. But anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you want to comment, I'm sure we'll get lots of comments. Hit them, you know what to do down below. And crap like that. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe for more Junebug effect. No Junebug effect. Oh, come here. And enjoy this wonderful pan of the cabin. Peace out.